watch a video about the application of the. This is a helicopter flew by the airplane.
It's gonna crash. So why did you show us that?
So we just have a motivation for the algorithm. So to train such an algorithm to fly a helicopter, so usually what's coming to mind first probably is the supervised learning. So in supervised learning, I'm going to repeat again. So to train an agent, to try to train a helicopter to fly like this, you probably have to present a lot of examples to the helicopter. So the example is like, state X, what should you do, the action in state X for it to fly. So you have to present a lot of example to fly this helicopter. But in this situation, it's kind of hard to figure out in what situation you should do what.
Can you give us one example?
Example
You
what?
said you have to define so many examples. What is one example?
So one example is basically like if your helicopter X is basically a vector representing the state of the helicopter, maybe the height, the position, and the orientation. So if it's heading down and visibility of maybe 10 km/h and it's quite close to the ground, what should you do? Y is probably pulled up. This is a training example of this helicopter. You need to tell the helicopter in what situation you should do what.
So action situation, Y is action.
Why is action? Yeah. You have to present the correct action to the helicopter for it to learn how to fly. This is supervised learning.
This is which learning?
Supervised. You have a lot of answer to some question. You need to train the helicopter, tell exactly what to do in what situation. But in many examples, it's hard to find a training example like this. Helicopter is one example. Another example is if you just made a 8-leg robot. So if you want it to walk, so how do you know in which position, which leg you should move? Basically, it's very hard to find this training example to the robot you just made. So in this situation, and if you recall, how do you learn to drive a car? So they basically just tell you a few principles when driving, and then just let you drive, let you try it by yourself. If you do something wrong, they will probably laugh at you or beat you. If you do something right, they will just give you some reward, just encourage you to do the same thing. So the reinforcement learning is to learning by the same principle. So the reinforcement learning usually consists of one agent, which can be a helicopter, which can be a car, or can be someone playing a chess. And this agent is in some environment. So in the helicopter case, it's just in some air, or in the car case, maybe on the road highway. So it's in an environment. So the agent, so basically do some action. And as a response, the environment will give it the reward. So it can be any value. So also the action cause agent to change its state. So in a car example, when you just press the accelerator, of course the state will be changed. Your position will be changed, your orientation will be changed, velocity will be changed. So to describe this setting, usually we use something called Markov decision process, which consists of a 5-element tool. A state, a set of state S, a set of action A, probability transition P, and a discount factor gamma, and a reward function R. So the element S is basically the set of status the agent can be. So in the car case, it can be a vector like position x, y, x, y is fine, and the velocity x, y. So basically, this is kind of enough to describe the state of a car. And in the helicopter case, probably it's a 3-dimensional instead of 2-dimensional. And this state, if you play a chess game, you know how you move the state of your board, how many things you have on the board. So this status is usually it usually holds a Markovian property, which basically means if I draw it in the graphical model, it's basically like this. So each variable is a state. So which basically means given the current state, the previous state doesn't count. To describe it intuitively, it basically means if you drive a car, you only cares about your current state. You don't care about the previous state. How fast you are, and doesn't matter. Only the current moment counts. Right? So it's basically Markov's property holds here, and the action is action you can take given in a given state. When driving a car, you know what you can do in a particular state. You can press the brake pedal. You can turn your steering wheel. This action. And the state transition probability P. It basically means given state S, if you take the action A, what kind of what's the distribution of the next state you can be? This basically means if you press the accelerate pedal, and the next state is very likely to be at some velocity, but you are not quite sure about that value. It can be a distribution over a few values. It just models the uncertainty of the state transition. I mean, if you fly a helicopter, if you just move your controller a bit, because of wind or other kind of condition, you are not going to move exactly the same position if you do the same action twice.
Okay, here's another thing is the obstacles and things around you. Do you take that into consideration? Or like, could it be part of S? Or like if you're flying a helicopter and there's a tree, what's your like?
That tree probably I will put into the state.
Yeah. Okay, so
the
you
state
have like
of
a
your
clear map of
surroundings.
everything.
Yeah. But because of some uncertainty, even if you take the same action, the result can be slightly different. Does that make sense?
So, but
Yeah, like questions.
it's weird to me that you're putting a map and a state. You said like if there's a tree or there's an obstacle or something that you'll have it in state S.
Yeah. So if you think about that, so let me see. If you are driving a car, this is the head. You are moving in this direction. So the state of the car is one thing you need to make decision. The state of the road is not you need to know to make the right decision. If the road is going like this, it's the state of the road. So you basically know you need to turn slightly to the right.
So and all of this is updated with time.
Yeah. State is a function of time. So. Is this confusing?
Still confusing, yeah, a little bit. What's the probability? It's the probability of what?
Probability. So it's like this. So this is the probability of in the status S, if you take action A, what's the probability you will end up with state S next state?
Okay, so do you have some next states that are saved or something like? I'm not understanding maybe clearly.
Let's see.
So we don't know. Do we know or we don't know S prime or like the next state? Or is it the expected?
Given any next state, you can find the probability of next state. So if, for example, if you are moving in this direction, if you are saying next state you are here, then the probability would be 0. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, maybe because of wind or something, the next position can be here, can be here, can be here. So you have a distribution of the next state. So it's like this. So if you are turning, if you are doing the same action, because of the road condition or some randomness, you can end up being here, 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 or here. Not exactly this point. There are some randomness here.
So you have an expectation that if you're at this state and you're gonna take this action, the expectation is that you're gonna be in this state with that action, with no other. So that's your expectation. Then you have some errors, like you might reach that or less or more, according to the other states.
probabilities now? We know before action what's the probability, or after action we must calculate the probability.
So this probability can be learned from your problem. This probability can be learned from your problem. So say if you are driving a car, trying different actions, you can accumulate a lot of data. You can estimate the probability of this transition.
They can be learned from the previous actions.
So do you do some you do some learning before, like some prior knowledge?
Yeah.
Some.
Yes. I will talk about this.
Okay.
So this probability is to be estimated by the reinforcement method.
Yeah, if you don't know,
Usually we don't know that.
usually yes. In reality, usually don't know. So intuitively, does that make sense? Still kind of.
You said you're gonna tell us more about the learning
Yeah,
process.
learning yes, but intuitively. what
Yeah,
makes sense.
understandable.
Okay. And this gamma is a discount factor. So I will explain this later because I need to write down some formula to make it more clear. A reward function is a function which maps the state and action to a reward. So still in the car driving example, if you drive correctly, drive on the road, you probably will get some reward. So they will say, okay, you are driving good. If you hit the curb, they will say, okay, you are not a good driver. So if in the state hit the curb, you will get probably -5 reward, saying you are not driving good. If you are driving on the road, so they probably give you a 1 or something, tell you are doing good. This is evaluating your performance. That makes sense. This is how you learn things. If you learn to walk, probably if you fall, they will say, okay, you are not walking properly. If you work properly, they will say it's good. It will give you evaluation. So here, the evaluation is given by this function. Makes sense? Okay. So
What's the gamma? Can you say it again?
I will explain this very soon. Basically now. So to give you an example of flying a helicopter. Flying a helicopter, we have a simplified model for this. So the status can be like right. This is the state. You are flying like this. And you also can be the side down. Also, you can be crashed.
What? What's that? There's an H.
This right side.
This one is flying like this. This is flying like this.
Right side.
This is 3 state of this set S. And
So this is his 2 states. You have 2 states.
This is 3. So
What's three?
Crash also is the state. So in each state you have some actions. When you are flying like this, you can still you can do a flip. And if you flip, the transition probability is 1. You have probability of 1 being in this state after flip, and you get a reward 5. You're doing good. You're cool. You're flipping. So if you are like in this state, you can still do a flip. But because this is like not in a normal state, so there is a probability that you can successfully flip. For example, it's 0.8 probability you can flip, and also it's true, so I give you 5. And because it's dangerous to flip when you are upside down, there's a 0.2 probability being crashed. Yes.
There's always a probability of crashing, even like why one? Why if you're right side up and then you're upside down? What is the probability
sorry.
1?
This is flip. This is flip. Can you repeat that?
Huh?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, why is the probability 1? You could crash flipping upside down.
Yeah. So this is a model you can define by yourself.
Oh, okay. It's
not
just
necessarily
okay.
very
It's not
very
like-
correct.
Okay.
So and here if you go you're upside down. If you go up, you can crash. That's for sure. Probability 1 or crash. And if you are right side up and you go down, the probability you have probability of 1 being crashed, so it's still -5. And also you just go up. This is not cool, so I just give you assign you a reward of 1, just a lot. And this is you can go down. Go down basically goes here. And you have probability 1 of getting reward 1. Because this is not cool either. So the purpose of reinforced learning is basically the dynamics proceeds like this. So when you're in a state S0, say you are just cars in parking lot, so you stay 0, and say you are going backward. So you take some action, maybe 1, say starting a car or something, and then you end up in a new state with the car start engine running, and then you take another action, leaving the parking lot or whatever. So you go to another state and then take another action based on the current state until you reach until you reach your home. So the purpose of reinforcement learning is try to maximize the reward you get. So apparently when you drive home, you don't want to end up in somewhere else, not in your home. In your home, you can get your reward, otherwise you cannot. So the reinforcement learning is just trying to maximize the reward. So as we defined here, reward function, the total reward get by this sequence is basically R. So here, she just sum up all the reward, but with a discount gamma. So the gamma here, you can consider gamma as a fuel cost or time value. You don't want just wandering around the parking lot and finally drive back home. You want to have a discount. You want to achieve your goal as soon as possible. So there's a discount factor. Discount factor.
Discount.
Yeah, that makes sense. What? another example. Say right now you are buying and selling some stock. So, of course you want to get money as soon as possible. Say $1 million, you won't get tomorrow instead of 1 year later. Because the money today worth slightly more than money tomorrow. That makes sense. So this factor is trying to say you get the reward as soon as possible. You don't want to delay the reward. Still, if you're driving back home, you don't want to be at home in the midnight. You want as soon as possible. So there's this kind of factor. Still. So yeah, that's right. So gamma is shown 0, 1, like this. Otherwise, it's 1. And the whole purpose of reinforcement learning is trying to come up with a policy pi, which maps to the state to an action, which maximizes the total reward. So this is kind of intuitive. So in each every state, you basically know what to do by following a policy. In the background, you know you want to start angle. When you see a red line, you want the state is red line. You probably want to stop. So for every possible state, you have an action corresponding to that state to lead you to a right state.
Is that an R or an H?
Which one?
The last one. Is that reward after gamma in that sense?
This one?
No, up. After gamma, is that up.
Black color.
In the set that you have. Yes.
This one? Oh, this is the reward function.
Reward. Okay.
Reward function. It's here. The same thing.
Because sometimes you write R, sometimes it's like an H. See over there, gamma 2 H.
Gamma 2.
Yeah,
Here.
that's an H. That's not.
Okay.
It's just a little bit confusing.
Pi.
Policy.
Is a policy, yeah. So which maps the state to pi. So you know exactly if I face this situation, what should I do? Finally, we want to learn a policy like this to direct us to make any decision.
Given a state, you can talk about multiple action.
Given a state, we can have a probability distribution over a set of states. Here we consider only one. But you can do multiple.
So do you consider like the whole scheme up there that you drew? That's a policy of that.
This is all possible things you can do. A policy can be, because here you can take different things to do.
Yeah.
But for a given policy, the policy can be like this. If you in this state, you just flip to here,
Yeah.
flip back, flip here,
Yeah.
flip back.
So
this
this-
is one policy.
Oh, that's one policy.
Yeah, that's one policy. Because whenever in this state you want to flip,
I just thought like the whole system is one policy. Like all of this
the
is
whole
one
system
policy.
actually pictures every possible state and every possible action you can take. So there's just infinity.
Because suppose helicopter is in this position, right side up. If it has to hover, so it doesn't need to flip all the time. And you build the probability of 1 that it has to flip.
Oh, it's like
In my
this.
opinion, there should be 3-4 more states with different probabilities. Like in Markov chain, we have, I remember, one state, second state. So with probability what you are doing here, it should be like say 0.2 probability, and with 0.8 probability, it has to remain the same.
Let me explain that a bit more. So,
Yeah. If like you put it with probability 1, I think if when it's like in this condition, it remains same most of the time, it as usual. So this probability should be say 0.8, it should be 0.2.
so
The total, the sum should be probability should be 1.
I would say not necessarily because here it actually means when in this state, if you take this action, you will have a probability y being in state here. It means like this. It does not necessarily mean 80% time you take this, 20% you take this action. It doesn't necessarily be like that. So it's totally up to you what you want to do.
What is the policy again?
Policy. Policy. You can think about that like strategy. So when playing a chess game, so in some situation, you in your mind you know what to do next. So this is basically a mapping from a situation to an action, corresponding action. What should you do in this situation?
So is it something like related to the particular action, or I mean, so okay, so for some kind of a process, is that just one policy or for any action you take, that is the policy, or you know?
The action, actually the mapping is a policy. The mapping itself is a policy. So if you drive a car, the policy can be always to right. That's the policy, but it's not right good policy to achieve your goal. Unless you want to go so. So if you think about that, anything you do, you basically follow a policy. So driving a car is very good example for me.
So how do you determine the policy for a whole process?
Yeah, so yeah, we are continuing on that. So our goal is find the right policy for your task to maximize the reward, and the reward defined by you to represent your goal of your task. Playing a chess, you want to win the game. That's the goal. That's the reward. So, I mean, doing anything you do, you usually have a goal. You represent the goal with the reward function, and then you have to figure out a policy which can maximize your reward. It's kind of confusing at the beginning, but after a while, if you think about that, I would say kind of lots of things we do is actually can be described in this model.
So policy contains various actions, like a set of actions.
Policy, yes, it maps the state to an action.
Will it contain a set of actions? I mean, so the best policy for me to go home by driving the car contains X, Y actions. So will it contain a set of actions, or is it just going to be like each particular action has a policy or something like that?
So let's see. So I would still say the policy is trying to say you are driving a car with your eyes closed. So you need to consult someone else. So this is like the machine you are trying to consult. You tell the machine, okay, the state is like this. I mean, I'm not on the highway. There's a few cars in front of me, there's a car behind me. What should I do now? The machine will tell you, now keep your speed, don't accelerate, don't brake, don't slow down. So this policy is like the machine telling you what to do in your situation.
Okay. One other thing. So, is there any tasks that are defined in the system in the sense that, for example, in the helicopter example, you're flying it autonomously and you want it to go from point A to point B? That's a task. Like go from point A to point B, which will have you go from this state to this state by pulling up a little bit and then turning around and blah 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 and doing all these actions to actually complete that task. So is there like any tasks in this system in that sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
So I think, is this model suitable for the task?
Yeah, are there tasks in the system? You spoke of the states, you spoke of the actions, the probability of going to the next state, gamma, and then the reward. What I'm saying is there like a task? Like for example, you have whatever, you have your map, you have your airplane, you're gonna fly autonomously, so are you gonna like put some waypoints or like some, like go from here to there, to here, to here. So the task to go from point A to point B requires you to do the following actions and to go from this state to another state. That's what I'm asking. Is there a task in the? Are there tasks in this system?
The task, I guess the task we are talking about is actually the policy.
Is actually the policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in your case, the reward function is going to be, if you reach point B, you will get a lot of reward.
Okay.
And if you don't reach it, probably you have some negatives, small negative reward because you are consuming the fuel. And
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So the reward going to be the B is going to give you a lot of reward, and the gamma probably you have say 0.99 because you don't want to waste your time. You want to do it as much as possible.
Certainly.
And the action, if you fly airplane, you can be going up
Yeah,
and down.
several actions.
Yeah, the state can be any position in the map. So if you can translate your model, your problem into this model, then you can solve this process.
Okay, I see. Maybe it's a better understanding of a policy, maybe, or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Actually, another example is, do you remember Marianne working on some balloon?
Balloon, yeah.
Yeah. So
It was a huge balloon.
her goal was to stick to a point or something, keep the balloon in some point, transmit signals. In that case, the reward function can be the distance between the balloon and the point.
Okay.
So the reverse of that.
Okay.
If you are far away from the point, you get less reward. If you are staying right on the point, you get maximum reward.
Sure.
And state can be how far, where is the point?
Okay.
How far is it and what's the position, what's the angle of the point according to you. And action can be flying up and down.
Sure.
So
That's it. Is there more?
yeah, it's kind of long. I will try to finish as soon as possible.
So we didn't even scratch the surface?
Yeah.
Like
I
this?
think so. It's not yet.
Yeah, probably we can do it like twice.
Yeah,
I think so. It's fine. Do you want to do it like straight? Like straight
Yeah, I don't want to like exhaust.
Yeah, I can help. It doesn't matter. So
So,
you think a good time to stop like that? It's fine.
how many tasks did we cover?
I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Your choice.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop and then I start again next
Next
time.
week?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next week.
Mhm.